Hi everybody. So it's Tuesday, so it's time for True Crime Tales. For the record, I'm going to try to talk at a normal volume, but I did bust my right eardrum, so I'm not sure if I'm loud. So we're going to do our best. Fortunately, it's a short one today, so hopefully I won't be yelling at you for too long. As always, we do have a content warning. It gets violent, it gets creepy, it gets nasty, but we're here. So, with that being said, we're just going to jump into it, and today we're going to be talking about Francisco Acevedo. Sorry if I said that wrong, but really not sorry, because you're a bad guy, but sorry. He's an American serial killer who was convicted of strangling 3 women to death in New York between 1989 and 1996. I did forget to add that going forward, I'm going to call him Francisco, even though I don't like to use their first names because I don't think they deserve their first names for being the shit people that they are, because his last name is very hard to pronounce for me. Francisco was linked to the murders in 2009 after voluntarily giving his DNA as a parole condition for drunk driving. In 2012, he was sentenced to 75 years to life imprisonment. Francisco was born in Meridian, Connecticut on September 2nd, 1968, one of 3 children of Yadira Acevedo. His parents divorced when he was 14 years old, after which he moved in with his father. According to court records, he abused alcohol, marijuana, and cocaine at the age of 12. Francisco dropped out of high school during his freshman year and worked a series of jobs, including as a laborer, a cook at a pizzeria, a dishwasher at Testa's Silvertown Inn, and a midnight baker at Dunkin' Donuts. In the 1990s, he was living in Mount Vernon, New York. He met his wife while working at New Way Kitchen, with whom he would have 2 sons. On July 3rd, 1986, 3 years before his first known murder, Francisco picked up a woman in his company truck in Meridian and drove her to a secluded area where he bound her hands, blindfolded, and sexually assaulted her. The woman fled after he fell asleep, and he was arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison. He was released in June of 1988. On November 11, 1997, he was charged with third-degree assault on his wife in Yonkers. However, the charge was later dismissed. On August 30th, 1998, he was arrested again for breaking his wife's nose after punching her in the face. He was convicted of a misdemeanor and served 9 months in jail. Francisco was arrested in Brentwood on January 26, 2009, his 4th time for drunk driving. While in prison, he gave a sample of his DNA as part of an optional parole application. His DNA was linked to evidence from 3 decade-old murder victims. Maria Ramos of the Bronx, murdered on February 5, 1989 at age 26. Tawanda Hodges of the Bronx, murdered on March 28, 1991, age 28. And Kimberly Moore of Greenburgh, murdered on May 24, 1996, at the age of 30. Each victim was found naked and beaten and was posed after their deaths. Investigators were aware of the murders being connected due to matching DNA found on each victim. However, they had no suspect whose DNA matched prior to Francisco's arrest. Francisco maintained his innocence, claiming that he had sexual intercourse with the victims but had no involvement in their murders. That's what they all say. He was acquitted of 3 counts of rape, as the victims were known sex workers. Unfortunately, that happens more than you think it does, especially if they are in sex work. It's very hard to get people to agree to a rape charge when you're a known prostitute. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It does happen. Even hookers can say no. Even strippers can say no. Cam models can say no. Anybody can say no at any given time, and that becomes a rape at that time. So I hate that it's put like that, and I hate that that happens, but unfortunately it does happen a lot more than we think it does. He was found guilty of the murders on the first day of jury deliberations and was sentenced 3 times to 25 years to life, so 75 years total, each to be served consecutively before he can be eligible for parole, totaling to a minimum of 75 years. He is currently incarcerated at Greenhaven Correctional Facility. Like I said, this was a really short one. I hate when they're short because I just like to have more information, but I literally found this on a website, and this was all I could find out about the guy through Wikipedia, through article searches. There wasn't a whole lot about this, which is really weird because you would think the fact that he got away with it until 2009 would be pretty fucking impressive. Like, you hear about the Zodiac Killer, like, I could find a shit ton more information on the Zodiac Killer now than I can find on this guy. And we don't even know who that is. Like, he's never been identified. Same to be said for Jack the Ripper, although I heard somewhere that they might have a lead on that. But anyway, The short one's probably good because, like I said, I can't hear and I feel like I might be yelling. I'm sorry if I was. Headphone warning. Yeah, other than that, I'll be back later this week. Y'all have a great time. I'll talk to y'all soon. Thank you, and bye.